for special purpose. As I speak to you now, brave patriot leaders from all the colonies are meeting in Congress in Philadelphia to decide what actions we must take to gain our freedom from the tyranny of the king. A scant 2 months ago, our brothers and sisters of Massachusetts struck the first blow and drew the first blood for liberty on the believe we are. In 1765, when the diabolical Stamp Act was imposed upon us, did we not stand up to the king and say to him, "We will not pay"?
Yes.
Together with our fellow patriots of Fredericktown, did we not repudiate that act?
Yes.
The first colony in all the colonies to do so.
Indeed we did.
We led the way. Just a year ago, did not our Elizabethtown resolves send a clear message to the good people of Maryland and all the colonies that we are prepared to take action?
Yes, we did.
We hung and burned Prime Minister Lord North in effigy.
Yes, sir.
Just 6 months ago, we began raising good men to fight in defense of Maryland should she be attacked, but it is no longer enough to just think of defense. Bolder action is required.
Yes.
The Congress in Philadelphia is preparing to raise an army to march to Boston in aid of that city. We will be asked to supply men for that army. The first soldiers, perhaps, of a new nation.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
We are.
This is why we are gathered here today, to bolster ourselves for the battles to come. I would now like to invite a great patriot to come and speak.
You don't know my name, and it's probably best that you don't. I go by Huttram, to escape death. And that is because there is a price on my head by the despot and tyrannic King of England. He is offering men 100 pieces of gold and 1,000 acres to see me hang from the nearest tree where they find me. So, I better, that's what I'm saying. You better not know my name or whence I come, except I just left a bond in Bedford, the county seat of Bedford County, Pennsylvania, for 1,000 pieces of silver that said that I would not incite rebellion or other forms of rebellion against the king and crown. So, I come from North Carolina. Perhaps some of you recognize the Regulators. And the Regulators took up your cause and our cause in 1771, just 4 short years ago, to protest the illegal actions of the governor, curse his name, Tryon, of North Carolina. He had a pretty little scheme going on that is much akin to the schemes up here in other royal colonies. I heard that he has been appointed now to be the governor of New York. That scheme, gentlemen and ladies, was that you could have all the land you wanted if you just came over and settled on it. Hundreds of acres, thousands of acres. Once you cleared the land, well, That's when the taxes started. Taxes, my fellow citizens, taxes. And there is nothing worse than a taxation coming from government. Do I get an agreement on that one?
Yeah.
So, what did they demand those taxes be paid in? Specie. Not trade, not barter. You couldn't take your grain for your taxes. You couldn't take anything, corn, livery, the cattle, sheep. Yes, sheep. And so you couldn't take them to pay your taxes. So what did the governor and his sheriff then do? He confiscated your land. Your land you poured your blood, sweat, and toil on for decades. He would come and grasp it, and then he would sell it to the highest bidder from the people who came over to settle the land after them. So we took up arms. We decided to defy the king and his governor. I myself am a Quaker. I am a pacifist. But I spoke to the people much as I am speaking to you today. My bond is in Pennsylvania, but I am now in the free state of Maryland.
Yeah.
That's right.
John Fat Jr.
Yep, but they're calling out pay.
4 shillings. John Fat. I guess you could be my dad. You're the only other German in the group.
I think that's appropriate. We wouldn't just put them all together.
Yeah, no Georgia.
Well, that worked bad.
They weren't there.
John Sr.
Where's Georgia?
Yes, you're lucky to hear signature literature.
Well, but this was from 17.
Believe it or not, Americans
so I don't know that.
tended to be more liberal. Liberal, yeah, than in Germany.
Yeah, right. I don't know. Maybe you didn't like Georgia.
Because we had schools.
Right, that's right.
The amount of continentals who were able to keep notes and write. Apparently, I know.
So, see, she'll get double pay. He signed my name. I'm like, that's fine, I'll get double pay. You'll get nothing.
Wait a minute, there's 2 John Fat?
Captain, after the enlistment, are you doing drill and muster immediately?
Yes.
Excellent.
We'll form them up as soon as the
I'll
last is
announce
signed.
it to our fine citizens.
Outstanding. Thank you.
I use invisible
Thank
ink.
you, sir. Sign your name or make your mark.
My secret.
Prepare for formation.
Vanishing ink.
Do I get one of them new red coats? One?
Sure. Why not? Watch out, the recruiter will like it.
We're going to get new red coats later down the road.
A few of us
Make sure you pick your job here. If they tell you, don't worry, we'll pick a job for you when you get to training. That's the kind of job you want.
I had the souvenir. We'd have a sawmill as part of it.
And the surgeon.
Surgeon Barber?
Barber
Give you a
surgeon.
shave too, if you need one.
You're undone.
That's just dirty Randy now. It's not dirty gun Randy.
Just dirty gun, Randy.
Order, y'all. Fire line.
All right, I would like to get verification of your fitness for combat duty. Please present your feet and hands for inspection. I am pleased to report these men, after thorough inspection, are fit for combat. May I please be dismissed?
You are dismissed, Doctor.
Thank you. If any of these men require immediate medical procedures such as cures for piles, worms, etc., they may meet me at the medical tent at your leisure.
Very good. I don't believe that will be a problem for
issue.
No one's getting out of formation for a sick call.
No, I don't care how much it hurts.
You're on your own time.
You did, that's why it hurts. Shoulder, y'all, parallax. Trail, y'all, parallax. Order, y'all, parallax. Rest. Attention, company. Shoulder, y'all, parallax. Ready for inspection? Just like we did this morning. Poise, y'all, parallax. Sorry, my bad, sir. Right down this side. Return, y'all. Ramrod. Shoulder, y'all. Parallax.
Did you want to see if anybody wanted to join us?
Smile and say freedom. Punctuating it one more time. And this time just say, here.
Who's your daddy?
Okay, here we go. Thank you very much. Okay, let us move on.
First U.S.
Yes.
Wes.
Hi.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I know now. Ferret's not there.
Oh, you look familiar.
Yeah. That's what they all say.
No, this is.
Most muskets, many of them are a little taller. This was used by the light infantry, who might be more likely to be moving around in the woods and not wanting a 60-inch gun. So these would be cut down a little bit for use by them. There's a big myth that the American Revolution was won by people with rifles, and the Americans, we all liked our rifles and such. Rifles were used specifically for long-distance targeting, for killing of enemy officers or sergeants, but the war was won with the smoothbore musket, which is what this is right here. And we had thousands and thousands of British-made smoothbore muskets because 12 years earlier we were fighting with them against the French and Indians in these colonies. This was the edge of the world. If you think about where Fort Frederick was, that was built in the 1750s to defend against the British aggression, against the French and the native allies. And so we were really on the frontier out there. This is really the edge of civilization. So the flintlock musket was the state-of-the-art technology, weapon-wise, for more than 100 years. They were first developed, the flintlock was developed in the late 1600s to replace other versions which were match-lit or whatever. Through an shark against this prison, also known as the hammer, and this is the cock, because it looks like the head of a rooster, against the hammer, creates sparks, which will then set off a little bit of powder, black powder that they put in what's called the pan. The pan, that powder burns through a hole through the side of the barrel, releasing igniting the powder that's been in the barrel, firing the ball out the barrel. Now, these guns were 75 caliber, meaning 3/4 of an inch diameter bore. They did not shoot 75 caliber balls from it. When we think about a gun today, like a .22 rifle, it shoots a .22 caliber bullet out of a .22 caliber barrel. It's a tight fit. These were not that way because these guns, black powder is a very, very dirty product. When we're done a reenactment, we're smeared with black powder all over us. It tastes like sulfur. Because it's so dirty, as you fired your weapon, residue would stay in the barrel. And so you needed a ball that was smaller so you could keep firing 10, 15 shots down the line to make sure that the ball would still go down the barrel. If the ball gets trapped and there's a space between the powder charge and a stuck ball, if that ball is stuck enough, that barrel is going to explode, right? So that's why we have ramrods, and we always made sure that we were tight. We wanted everything tight in there, because otherwise you could turn your gun into a bomb, and that's bad. Right, so we're all firing round balls. Everything we do is completely round. Yep, no mini ball shapes. Yep, and then they invented the military ball. Yes, the interesting thing about this gun is, like I said, versions of this actual gun basically established the British Empire and were used for more than 100 years. That's how state-of-the-art that had been, is that this was still being used in past Napoleon's time. They just found a bunch of these rifles in Nepal from the 1840s. And these were first invented in 1716, I think. So they had been around for more than 100 years because it worked. Because what they were doing, these were accurate to about 80 yards. You could fire farther, but if you really wanted to hit a man-sized target, you wanted to be at 80 yards. 100 yards could do it. So that's why they were lining up shoulder to shoulder and firing. It's because you're mass bone. This is all about how fast can you put lead down range. So rifles, which are much slower to load, and we did a rifle demonstration earlier, you can get 3 to 4 shots off for every 2 rifle shots with one of these. And so this is a much faster weapon, and it was used by the armies throughout the world at this time to conduct warfare. Related directly to this firearm. Does anybody know any of them? Name one of them? Anybody ever heard of a flash in the pan? What does it mean if something's a flash in the pan? You know? Yeah, it's just something really quick, nothing really behind it, right? It was just a flash in the pan. One hit. Sure. A flash in the pan meant that the powder, when you fired the weapon, went off and burned the powder in the pan. It flashed, but it did not go through, and it did not set off the main charge. So a flash in the pan was something that was potentially really good, but petered out before it was of any use. That's how we use the expression. Another one we use is going off half cocked. Anybody heard of going off half cocked? Right? So these weapons' safety, where the cock is down, you can't have your pan closed, so you can't keep powder in there, right? So there's a half cock, which is halfway there. So now you can load your pan and you can close it. Try not to point at you. So now at half cock, you can see that the cock almost touches the hammer, but not quite, right? But that was the safety. But sometimes if you tripped, or if your mechanism was poor, or the spring was worn, your weapon could go off half cocked. And that means it fired its main round when you didn't want it to do that, which could be potentially very bad, right? So you want to go to full cock, and then when you fire, the sparks go into the pan instead of things. So that's going off half cock. Okay.
Shoulder, y'all. Paralyze. Company. For real. Prime and load. Yes, give me you.
Drums were used because, again, the din of the battlefield, you'd know a certain command that meant to prime and load your weapon. Once they were loaded, they bring all their weapons up vertical so the sergeant or the officer knows that they are loaded and ready to fire.
Make ready. Take your aim. Fire. Cover load.
3 times a minute's the goal, militiamen. The British Army trained to fire 3 shots a minute. The American Continental Army will do the same. Remember, the militia are only meeting maybe 6 times a year, so when they are getting ready, they're a little slower, General.
Thank you. Make ready. Take aim. Fire. Fire load.
Imagine the smoke of 100 or 200 weapons.
Quickly, lad. Quickly, lad.
After the second or third shot, that barrel gets too hot to touch by the hands, and that's why you have so much wood underneath. You got to really just focus on holding the bottom of the weapon and not touching that barrel, or you'll burn your left hand. You'll also notice they get a little ginger when they're loading at that point too.
Make ready. Take your aim. Fire.